Yo guys, what is going on? My name is Vexelate, but you can call me Nick. Today, I'm bringing you another game review. Like I like to say in the beginning of all these game reviews, I've been a multiplayer type of gamer my entire life. Always really grinded Call of Duty on the Xbox, that type of thing. But lately, as I've gotten older, the appeal of multiplayer games has kind of worn off on me. Getting mad at Call of Duty isn't as fun as it used to be. So I decided, you know what? I'm really getting wrapped up in these story-driven games. I'm really starting to enjoy the time and the narrative of these games. So why not make reviews on them, you know? Why not talk about all the old ones I'm going back and playing, all the great games that I've missed along the years. As you guys know, every review I write is spoiler-free. So you can watch this video about this game and still go out and play it after watching my video, so you don't need to worry about any spoilers. Today, I'm going to be reviewing What Remains of Edith Finch. What Remains of Edith Finch is a story-rich, walking simulator type of game that originally released on April 25th of 2017. I beat this game and wrote the review for it on January 2nd of 2022, so just about 5 years after the game came out, I got around to playing it. If you guys remember one of my older reviews, I think it was my second ever review, it was Firewatch. That was a walking simulator style of game, and I gave that a 10 out of 10. So my impression on walking simulators is very high as of right now, because the only walking simulator style of game I played was Firewatch, and I gave that a 10 out of 10. As I did just mention, this game did come out in 2017, and honestly, it does feel a little bit dated. I don't know if dated is the right word, but maybe a little unperfected, because it's not like gaming was like on the come up in 2017, you know, high quality games were being made in 2017, so it's not like I'm going back to an ancient time before games were like bug free and perfect. I've seen really bad performance for this game on the Xbox One and PS4. Not on PC though, obviously it plays on PC just fine. But I'm not saying the gameplay is perfect. I know it's just like a little indie game, but sometimes the game felt and played really clunky and kind of took me out of the immersion. Like, the difficult and glitchy controls for playing as some of the animals you play as in this game, like in the first sequence, like being the owl or the cat, was kind of just weird controls, or really specifically the frog in the bathtub was glitchy in my opinion. Like the controls didn't play well. Or really a really good example I remember is playing as the monster in the first one. I literally didn't know if my game was just glitching or it was just coded really bad, the controls and like camera angle for the monster you're playing as. I didn't know if that it was like that for everyone or if my game was just glitching, but yeah, it shouldn't really be like that. Also, when playing on keyboard and mouse, you have to use your mouse. Like, if you're opening a door, you have to move your mouse upward with it. Or if you're, like, cranking, like, a wheel type thing, like for a music box, you have to spin it in circles. I like what it was going for. It just wasn't well executed. But enough about talking about, like, how buggy it kind of felt. Let's talk about the actual, like, you know, meat and potatoes of this game. Let's talk about the narrative, all of that. In this game, you play from the perspective of a bunch of people, actually, but mainly you play as the main girl. Her name is Edith Finch, and she's like the main character. You play as her, walking through and reminiscing the old house she grew up in, which she acquired through inheritance after her mother's death. Actually, not just her and her family, well, it is still her family, but generations of her family, dating back to, I believe, 1880-something, all grew up in this house. So the house has a lot of history, and it's very, you know, it hits home to the character, and that's what the main story is basically about. Edith's mother leaves Edith a key for the house, unlocking little corridors and pathways. Many different members from different generations of the Finch family left behind in this house. And you are now just basically going through a collection of tales of what happened to all of your family members. You explore her family history, including like a what people describe in the game as a family curse, to find out why you are the last one remaining in the family through things like memorabilia and things they just left throughout the house. I read online somewhere, I think it was in a YouTube comment section, because every time I beat a game, I like to go watch other people's reviews just to see what other people are thinking about this game. And someone compared the curse on this family to a metaphor as mental health illness, because the curse is affecting everyone, and some of the deaths in this game you'll see are kind of quirky and bizarre. So people say, oh, the curse is actually just a metaphor for mental illness, because mental illness is genetic or hereditary, whichever the proper terminology is, and that's how it would affect everyone on a family tree. And I'm like, oh, that was a cool little theory. Looking at that, like looking at this game through the lens of that, especially through one of your characters, like your brother in the game, definitely can check out. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if that's canon or not, but it makes sense a little bit. So yeah, like I said, the game, like you're just going through the house and finding out what happened to everyone in your family tree. The game starts and ends these stories abruptly, but not in a bad way. Every character has a surprisingly unique and bizarre death, and no two deaths feel similar. What I mean by the abrupt ending is just like out of nowhere, the character will die, and it's not a bad thing. It actually kind of keeps you on your feet metaphorically for this game. I gotta give this game credit though. It does have a good game mechanic, because you can like pull up your diary that you're carrying, and there's an illustration of the family tree, which you can check at all times, because if you're anything like me, I can barely remember my own family tree. And I also never understood how like second cousins and third cousins work. I can never wrap my head around that, but different conversation. But the ease and convenience of being able to check in on the family tree, like, okay, this is my great-grandfather who married this person and then had kids, and then these are my grandma's sister and brother. You know what a family tree is. It's very convenient and very practical that you can pull that up and check that any point in the game. And I thought that was creative, and it was very helpful for the story, keeping like me in check and understanding what's going on at all times. Because they could have just, not thought of this or left this out, but it's very, very good that they did put this in. There's not really much in the way of puzzles or difficulty in general in this game, which I'd say is a good thing. It makes the game more accessible to people. Walking simulators should be kind of one of those genres, in my opinion. And one story to another, or like how it plays out, is navigating the house. It plays into each other pretty smoothly, and I'm glad there was no like big resemblance of puzzles or anything to slow down the flow of this game, because like I said, you walk from one part of the house to the other, and the stories and the time it takes to get from one story to another, they all flow in with each other very well. Like there's no long period of just walking without story. And if there were puzzles in this game, I feel like maybe the flow could have been disrupted. So I think the lack of puzzles and things that slow you down actually help this game by keeping the flow and pace at a good rate. But this game is relatively quick. It's a quick game. The average time online I've seen is about 2 to 2.5 hours. It took me 105 minutes to be exact, so that's not even 2 hours. 2 hours is a pretty short game, though. The game ended pretty hard, I would say. Not abrupt. Hard, if that makes any sense. Because keeping up with the family tree, I saw the unknown faces being filled in after you learn about them. With only 1 or 2 remaining, I assumed that the end of the game was near. So I won't say it was abrupt, because I could see it was coming, but it kind of just like hit you like that. It was just like kind of like all the deaths like I described earlier. The end just kind of snuck up right up on you, I guess, in a way, and just like that. But let me talk about the narrative as a whole. That's like a big thing about these story-rich games, Is the story worth your time? Was it a well-written story? Well, kind of. It was more so a collection of a bunch of short stories, but as you work your way up and more recently through the family tree, as you go from like 1880 to, modern day, it all ties in together quite nicely. Here's the part where like subjectivity and preference comes into play, because I've seen people say this is one of the best story games they've ever played, and one of the best stories in video games they've ever seen told in the form of a video game, things like that. I enjoyed this game, but this game's not going to change my life in any way. The narrative was nice. It was nice. I enjoyed it, but it's not one of those games that's going to stick with me forever, like Firewatch or maybe Undertale. The first walking simulator I ever played, like I said in the beginning, was Firewatch, which I have a review of. I think that's an example of a 10 out of 10 narrative. And playing anything after that, you know, I think it's gonna be really hard to match or top Firewatch. So maybe my frame of reference is kind of skewed. The constant and reoccurring theme of death did kind of get to me a little bit. Not like, oh, I can't play this anymore, but like it got me thinking about like my own life and my own family's death, to be specific. I don't have the biggest family in the world. Like the person in this game, Edith Finch, her family is like 3 or 4 times the size of mine. But I've only had to lose a loved one once when I was about 12 or so. But I'd say the game did portray the emotion of isolation and loneliness very, very well, hitting me somewhat close to the heart. Not as in like, oh, like I'm so sad, but more in the sense of like, damn, I put myself in a position of Edith Finch and like losing everyone and being alone. And like, damn, it really sucked to, you know, lose your parents, things like that. It got me thinking like that. But unlike Firewatch, since I keep comparing it because that's the only other walking simulator I've ever played, I feel like this game may have been a little too short to become too attached to like any of the characters, like genuinely. Firewatch was about 4 hours long, and I felt really attached to the main character and his story. This was under 2 hours, and I felt like I didn't have enough time to really develop a true connection with the main character or main characters. Maybe that's because you're playing as someone new very often in this game, because every time you get to a new story, you're in the perspective of someone else. Maybe that's why. The story itself was good, but at times I was kind of thinking to myself, why do I care? Why should I care about this? That's just me being inquisitive in general, but that's not something you should really be thinking while playing a story-rich game, you know what I mean? So, like I said, I don't want to do spoilers, so without talking too much about the plot and giving anything away, I don't have much left to talk about. This game does have a very creative approach on telling a story. Despite your thoughts or my thoughts on the narrative itself, I do think the way that the story was told was very creative and like worthy of like appraise, if that's the right word. This takes us to the final verdict of the game, and I do have to take price into consideration as I do. This game, while not on sale, was $20. I got this game on sale on the Steam Winter Sale for $6. $6 was a very good price for this game. $6 is a fair price for this game. I think this game should be priced about $10. $20? Not so much, though. I don't know if I can recommend you buy this game at $20. I mean, if $20 is super disposable for you, obviously go ahead. But if you're kind of in my position in life where $20 isn't going to make or break you, you'll be fine without $20. But, you know, you'd be upset if you lost a $20 bill. You know what I mean? I don't know if I could recommend it. I don't know if I could recommend go out and buy this game immediately for $20. But this game is on Games Pass, so if you have Xbox Games Pass, you don't need to pay for it, obviously. So, yes, go play it if you have Games Pass. So my recommendation is throw this on your Steam wishlist, or your Xbox wishlist, however that works. I play on PC, and wait for a sale. Wait for it to dip below like 10 or so dollars. $20, I don't think I could recommend for $20. I don't think I could recommend you buy this game at $20, but absolutely play it, like major emphasis, absolutely play it if you have Games Pass or if it goes on sale for you. So that takes us to the final score of the game. I'm going to have to rate this game a 7.1 out of 10 because the price, I have to review it as a non-sale game. I have to review it as a $20 game because that's the price for the game 99% of the year. So I have to say the price I disagree with. It shouldn't be $20. If this game was $10, it'd probably be closer to like an 8 because I got to take value into consideration. So get this game on sale though. You know, absolutely get this game on sale. So this game gets a 7.1, mostly because of the price to hours played and the couple of issues I mentioned in the beginning. So this game review actually ran a little bit longer than I expected it to. Let me know what you guys thought. Did you play this game? Do you have interest in playing this game based off of what I told you? Let me know. Let's have a comment. Let's have a discussion in the comments below. You guys know how YouTube works. If you like the video, please like it. It helps. Subscribe, notifications, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to talk your ear off. You get how it works by now. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.